Hey everyone, Marc D here with a quick update on the PC build. And if you're here, well, that was happening last episode, last issue. We had a power supply that went kaboom. And it turned out it was the power supply. I wasn't sure what was happening. I heard a loud bang there, and yep, it was it. Hey Dave, yep. Just checking. Can you hear me? Just double checking. I'm on my portable mic again, but hopefully you can hear me. I don't see my icon flash in there like it normally does, but hopefully that's hopefully Dave can give me a heads up there if things are going. So what I did, I was able to. I just turned turn the computer on. I'm gonna shut it down and show you how it works, but how everything is working now finally, thankfully. But it was. Yep. Oh, good. We can hear me. Yeah, thankfully. Hey, Maddie's daddy's here, Steve. Yep. We know when Steve is in the house, and then that means we got to play this. And this is not going to be a long one tonight. I just wanted to get an update out there because that was super disappointing when you hook up something, you turn it on, and kerflooey. So here's maybe there was too much lightning from Thor. Let's see here. So I gotta get an intro for Dave C too, but maybe something with Godzilla. Yeah. So thanks, guys. Yeah. So I just wanted to give an update on that. So let me get my camera set up here. Yeah. So basically, uh, if you're building a PC, it's a good idea to have one of those power supply testers. I'll put a link in the description. So they're only like $15, so it's a relatively cheap and inexpensive, item to buy. But it's something that really comes in handy, especially so if you're not sure of what's happening, then you want to make sure that hey, that's that's what happened, yeah, and you don't go crazy testing every component, kind of like I did when this error message kept happening. So let's see if I get this camera hooked up, my secondary camera, so you guys can see the PC that's running. Of course, all right, we want to do updates, so it's doing a million updates. Let me mute my cell phone there, so it's on mute. Let's get that. Let's see, enter stream, enter studio. There we go. I always hear that ding. Like, who's joining? Who's joining? Yep. All right. So here we go. So let's put this camera on. Add that. There we go. So yep, as you can see, the power is on. Let me turn that light off so that it looks a little cooler. The one thing I've got to do is figure out how to change the colors of the fan. I think that's the Cooler Master has a program which you can go in and tweak that. So I kind of like a blue color. You can have it just change RGB. Will just change different colors. But as you can see here, here's the power supply. It's all right. I know it's not in the case, but that's okay. It's just on the side, just to test, just to make sure that it was working before I put everything in. And it is a lot smaller. This is the RM750E. So let me show that the 750 looks like it's discontinued. I'm going to grab the 750. Of course, I do like the components, so I did put an RMA request. I'm hoping that it goes through. But as you can see, this is a much heftier, heavy-duty power supply. The original RM750 they had, I think it's been superseded by the 850. I don't think they make this version with this RMX. There's all different grades of power supply, but just lifting this up, I mean, that's much lighter than this one. This is a Mueller level lifting, and this is kind of like wiffle ball, but I'm sure it's a good power supply. And it's got a 1080 in there, which requires a 500 watt power supply, so that should be good. So yeah, here's the power supply tester, which I was using in that last stream. So you plug in your, off your motherboard, and you plug in your PCI or your, the 6P or the connectors here. It'll give you a reading. The one thing I did watch a YouTube video, then it'll beep. There's a minus 12 volt connection. That's not used anymore in power supplies. So if that comes up, that's okay. You can ignore the negative 12 volt, because that's not used in modern power supplies, but it's in the specs, I guess, somewhere. So they have that. They still have that on the board or on this device. But yeah, that's a real handy thing to have. So now all I have to do is put the power supply back in and organize the cables again, which I had them all nicely organized. But as you can see, the fans are going, which is nice. I could have gone with the 3. I went with the 3. If I'd done the 2 fans, it would have looked kind of weird too. So that's another reason for aesthetics. So you can also, what I always do is always check. Here's a simple check for your fans. You want to see which way they're blowing. Of course, make sure they're covered. Oop, of course, I didn't catch it right. There we go. So you can test. So that fan is obviously blowing in what you want. So the cool air is coming in, and then it's going across the front of the computer. Let me get a light on here so you can see it here. So it's going across the front of the computer, and then what you do want to check is the back. You want to have the fans blowing across in the same direction. So I'm going to put the tissue paper in front. So if you put it in the back or a feather or something light, you can feel it, or just put your hand there. You can feel it blowing out. It's not going to stick to the case. Now the CPU fan is running. Of course, that's just going to light up. Let me change the angle there so you can see that. You got to make sure that if you're doing one of these liquid cooling fans, that let's see if I lift that up, you can see that's lit in there, which is pretty cool. And the motherboard lights up. Well, yeah. So here's the tissue paper. You can see it's pushing out the back. So the power supply fan, I'm probably going to put it facing underneath so it'll suck air in. But conversely, you could have the power supply fan on the top pushing down. But I think it's probably better to have because there's a grate here on the bottom, or an opening for a fan, so you could have it pushing down, or pulling the air in. So if you check so here, let's test which way this fan is blowing on the power supply. If you're not sure, we put the one that died away. So hopefully they honor that arm. Because it says it's like 2 or 3 days to see what happens, but hopefully that goes through. But let's check the power supply fan here. And of course that's safe because it's got a grid covering it. So let's see here if we. Okay, so it's actually blowing into the power supply, which makes sense. And of course now it turned off just as I did that, but it's pulling in. So if that fan is facing down like this in your case, that's okay, because it's going to blow cold air, or the cool air, hopefully, into the case and through the power supply. So that's, but you want to make sure that obviously you have a fan opening underneath your case. If your case doesn't have any breathability on the bottom, don't put the case fan straight down against where there's no grid, there's no opening. So, but with this case, you could do it either way. But I think it's probably better to have it pulling the air in. Some motherboard cases also have bigger cases have slots or spots you can put the fan in the power supply channel, quote unquote, there where it's blowing the air. But with this cooler, I think that let me lower this a little bit here. With this cooling setup, you are going to get some cold air or cooler air blowing across into that power supply area. So that's the biggest heat generator other than the CPU. And your graphics card, number one, you have a really big graphics card, and your CPU generated along with the power supply. So I could add some fans across the top here. In this case, there's a provision you can add some fans here, but I think with these 3 fans here, that one fan in the back, and the power supply fan, I think it's going to It should be enough. We're not, you put in a heavy-duty graphics card, maybe. But with these 3 fans, that's what's so nice about these modern cases. Compared to an old case, you're going to get a lot of cooling, going through that. For example, if you look at an old case, here's an old school case that I had. A computer. Oh, it's got to be dusted if Raquel's around, but yeah, that's really old school. God, that computer is probably from I'm guessing the 90s, maybe. I haven't turned that on in a long time. I'm not sure what OS is. It's got to have Windows on there, but there's no cooling through the front of that machine, and then you can also slide this up. So it's not going to stay. But there is also a little bit of venting through there, but you can see it's not designed like these cases are now, where it's all in the open. And what's nice about it, it's with the glass case, glass side will go on here, the glass door. You can see on the inside, and once it's all cleaned up, it'll look nice. But maybe I could have added a fan that had RGB colors in the back. It's something you could do. Let's see if I have one of those RGB fans lying around. But it's nice to have a colored fan in the back too that matches the motherboard. But the other thing to really check too when you're doing a computer like this is check for any loose wires that can get into any of your fans. So, for example, I had a problem where this PCI, when it's not all finished, but this PCI had gone into the graphics card. I don't know if you can see that, but you want to make sure that, hopefully you can see that. You want to make sure that all your wires are tied off and nothing can get into your fan. So what I can do is just put a zip tie here so that the PCI is, kept in place, and, the computer's not moving around, but it's captive there. So let's turn the computer on and let's watch it boot up, and then I think we're good. So this has been running for a few days, thankfully. So I'll button all this up, and of course, you always have to have a super mouse, right? There we go. So there's my Superman mouse. So with the see, it's got laser vision too. See that? It's got heat vision. Pretty cool for a mouse. So this mouse is a little bit janky now, and it's from Superman Returns, but that still works. Yeah, it's a classic mouse. So it's not wireless, unfortunately, but it's got the cool S there, right? So the really good S logo. So old school. All right, so let's power this up and see how this works. All right, let's turn this light off so we can see the cool fans lighting up, and hopefully we won't get a big bang or a machine that goes bing. That's never good when the machine goes bing. There we go. Let's turn it on again. It works. Of course, it was working last time, so only for a few minutes. Yep. And there we go. So there's the post. She's posting. And I already had Windows installed on this hard drive. It was from an upgrade. I put in a new hard drive, so it's already had Windows. But what you're going to want to do if no one has a CD anymore, so just get when you purchase Windows, you can make a thumb drive of Windows. You can download it, and I'll post a link. There's a really cool website that I found called Kinguin, and you can get Windows for about $30, give or take. Hey, Gap After Dark, how's it going? So it's working. This might take a few minutes. So I did upgrade to Windows 11. So I'm probably going to sell this PC. So I figured it'd be better to have the latest version of Windows. And Windows 11, once you get used to it, it's not that bad. You can do a couple of tweaks to make it look more like Windows 10. And there's also some programs you can buy that, if you want to, that'll make it look like Windows 10. menu system. But I'm trying to remember what the name. Oh, forgetting the name of it. But if I remember, I'll post that in the link there. But is it soft? No, it's not soft test, but it's a menu. Let's see if I can find it. Windows 10 menu. But yeah, Windows 11 is going to be out of support in a few years. So let's see, what was called Windows 10 menu software. But it's always what's the right search to put in. Oh yeah, Stardock. Yeah. So Stardock, if you want to go back to the old menu, it's called Start 11. Let me put that link in the chat. So, and that's a good tip if you want to stay old school. I've used their products, especially when I think it was when Windows. Was Windows? Was it 98 or which one changed the menuing system the most? I can't remember now, but they make good products if you want to have more control of your computer. All right, so let's just see if this. Let's do system info here. Right click. Let's do system info. Let's see. System. There we go. So, yep. So it's, it's got my name on there. Take that off. Yep. But, yeah, it's got all the info there. So it's working good, thankfully. And, yeah, it's a pretty fast PC. Hey, Fallout Dave, how's it going? So we got the system working. So, which is good. But, yeah, so I think, let me put the link in for Kingwin too. So we get that in there. Let's see. Can we do system info? Let's try that. Let's see here. Make sure everything's working. All right. So if you just start typing SYS system info on Windows, if you're not sure about finding any of the items, using the wrong mouse, it would help if I use the right mouse. If you just click the start button, you can't see that corner there, but just start typing what you want to find, and then system information. There we go. Yep. So you can see what's on this computer. Windows 11 Pro, and the RAM should read at 32 gigabytes. Yep, 32 gigs. Yep, and the hard drive is 1 terabyte. So yeah, so everything's working. You can always buy testing software, things to check. But sysinfo is a good way to check everything. So glad that's finally all working, thankfully. So that was nerve-wracking when that went out, and that went kerflowy. not so good. So we got that working. Let me put in the chat where you can get a nice, affordable copy of Windows and other software. So it's Kingwin, like penguin with a K, I guess. I don't know how you say it, but I was just listening to a review of this company, and I've been buying their stuff for a while, and just get what they do. They buy keys in bulk, and they're out for purchase. So here's Kingwin, I guess you say it, Kingwin. So Kingwin.net. So here I'll share my screen here just to show you that. Let's see, Chrome tab. Yeah, it's legal keys that you're purchasing here. They're buying them, I guess, on the secondary market, but you can get games, bestsellers here, Call of Duty. So you're purchasing the secondary Windows keys. But yeah, like Windows 11 Home, $21. So that's a great way to go. Or if you're an Apple person, or Linux, and you're running a virtual Windows, that's a great way to do it also. So you don't want to spend $100, $150 on Windows. So that's a good good tip for everyone out there. If you're building PCs, that's a good website to go to. So, all right. Well, I guess unless anyone has any questions, I think this was finally a success. So I'm going to clean this PC up, and then get it all buttoned up and test it a little bit more, and then probably put it for sale since it's an extra machine I don't need. So, yeah, I think that yeah, it was fun to hang out with you guys. Yeah, this is just a quickie tonight, but it was fun to hang out with everyone and say hi. So great to see you. Follow Dave C, Gap, and Maddie's daddy. And yeah, so if anyone had any questions, I got to publish a short of that. The power supply going boom. That was kind of fun. Now that we've got this working, now I feel a lot better now. This is working. But when that first happened, it was not good. So let's see. Steve would say, it says this is before, but most of it was over my head. But I can draw a picture of it. Oh yeah, you're the artist, right? Yeah. Well, that's why. Yeah, sometimes you need to. Computers are just tools now that people buy. The fun thing is, yeah, if you're a hobbyist, you can still build one, but it's a lot easier to just go, hey, go to not CompUSA, Best Buy now, or just buy a ready-made PC. But yeah, it's fun to build something yourself. And if you go back and watch this, Steve, I'm sure you could figure it out. It's not that bad. And I didn't go into the installing Windows. I'll put those instructions in for anyone who's watching later. But you download Windows and you burn. Here's my USB key with Windows. Well, it said Windows 10 on it, but you burn get a USB thumb drive. I think 16 gigs or 32 gigs. Maybe 16 is the minimum these days, and put Windows on there and boot it up. And the BIOS, you don't have to really go into the BIOS and change anything these days. You can just go with the default settings. In the old days, you had to go in and change things around. But actually, let's go try to get into the BIOS. Famous last words. Let's see if I can get into the BIOS, just to show everyone what that screen looks like if you're setting up a PC. I should really do that in this part. Hey, Daniel Berry. Let's turn power off. Shut down. Let's see. And normally to get into the BIOS, you either press the escape key or F1 key. So let's see what they come up with. Let's show a modern BIOS, because we really should do that in the gold store. I know I said we were getting out of here, but it should just take a second. But I think we just hit it's either F1 or delete key, BIOS boot. You got to hit it quick. Let's see if it went into it. Let's see, there we go. I missed the BIOS. It was too slow. Let's turn it off again. That's what happens with a new PC. It's so fast. There's no junk on the hard drive. Okay, let's shut down. And it's all solid state, so no mechanical parts to move around. All right, let's see if this turns off. Okay, turn it off. Let's try it. It's a delete key on the keyboard. It usually flashes on the screen. You can see. Right. Just keep pressing that delete key, and the window is usually pretty quick. All right, it didn't work. All right, we'll try one more time. Let's see. Power. Shut down. Might have to go into complete. All right, now it's completely off. Now before the fans need stop. So let's see if that'll do it. All right. Just want to. In the modern BIOS, you really don't have to change any of those settings. I just want to make sure I catch this. Oh, yeah, here we go. Let's see. Open it. There we go. There's the BIOS. Okay. And then Dave is saying, yep, kind of miss the days of building PCs. Haven't done it in a long time. Yeah, this is going to make this full screen. Let's see this a little bit better. Get a little tighter. Yeah, it's going to be tough to read some of this stuff. And I turn the camera. It just gives you an idea, but you can see the fan. I can see the fans, how their speeds on. So the CPU fan, the optional fan, which is the liquid cooling, and the system fan, which is in the back. You can see the speeds, the frequencies, and the temperature, so you can read everything in the BIOS, and you can check your memory voltage, system temp, the CPU. And I can see the type of memory now in there, so it might be tough for you guys to. Let's see if I pull this. Use my limited brain power and pull that a little bit forward too. Let's see. Like that. Yeah. So, yeah, you can read everything you need about the PC, which is great, right in that BIOS screen, which is nice. And then you can go to the next page. Let's see, do they have this advanced? So you can pick which boot drive. There's only one drive in here, but you can do advanced mode here, which is let's go into that. So function 2 key. Let's see, where's the F2 key in here? So you can go into your clock control. You don't have to do any of this, but you can tweak it if you wanted to. Advanced CPU settings. They've got favorites. Let's see, settings. So your platform power. If you know what you're doing, you can go in here. And usually it gives you a description on the bottom. But wake on LAN enabled. You can see your I/O in and out ports. What display goes first on the graphics card. Your hard drive configuration. There's only one hard drive here now. If it's in RAID mode, let's see, system info, we can read that here. It'll have the date and the time here. But, and what revision of the BIOS you have, if you need to update your BIOS, how it's going to boot. So it's going to boot on the most common one to change would be that what is going to boot first. But you can also get there from the main menu as well. Usually you can say boot, F12 is usually boot. And it just shows you all the settings here. CSM support, UEFI only. So, and you can see here too, it's giving you all the frequencies, the memory. So you can check everything there and see how your system's running. Plus 5 volts, plus 12 volts. That's within spec. And the power supply. And yeah, then tweaking it too. You can go. So a lot of motherboards have settings where you can do it as like an overclock setting. Where you could go, enable, disable turbo mode. So I can go into like a turbo mode there. You can overclock your CPU. So I have enabled here. Allows the processor to run faster than its marked frequency if it's below power, temperature, and spec. So it's pretty safe to do. So different settings you can play with that. But normally you don't. You just the old days, as Fallout Dave was saying, you'd go tweak things. If you're a gamer, you go in and tweak all these and check your memory settings to see what but now it reads that from the memory now. So it's you can just double check your settings there. And typically you can go into the to the internet and just see what settings you'd like things to be at. Power down, enable auto. Let's see here. So, yeah, it's probably the one thing you might want to do is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But, a lot of times with these motherboards, you might want to update the BIOS. So you go to the ORS, go to their website for the motherboard and check. And sometimes you can download it within Windows. Other times you have to use a USB stick to upgrade the BIOS. Most of the time it's a USB stick, but now they've gotten to where some of the bigger manufacturers have it where you can do it through Windows, which makes it easier. But you're not having any problems. You're not risking updating the BIOS. But the last item too would be to update any drivers with for the motherboard. So you could go in to your motherboard manufacturer's website, find the motherboard, and sometimes they'll have a set of drivers you can download and install because everything's built in the network, the sound card. But Windows typically finds everything and auto configs it. So here I'm going to do exit without saving, just to be sure. So we're going to exit here and quit without saving, yes, and then we're going to go back to the OS. So what you could do is when you're in that in Windows, that would be the one last thing to do that I haven't done yet, is get any motherboard specific drivers. But everything is working. It's amazing with these modern computers. It's just so much. It's so much easier to get everything running. So let's just check that. Let's go into Google Chrome. Let's see, make sure it doesn't open my email first. And of course, you use the Windows browser to download Google Chrome. That's the joke that everyone always says. You use Microsoft Edge to download Windows Chrome. Let's see. So we'll get that. Let's see, what's the model of this? Get the exact model number here. I have it written down. So if you go X570, let's see, there we go. X570. And of course, the keyboard is not typing. Hey, come on, keyboard. Jinx myself here. Let's see. Is the caps lock working? Nope. Let me unplug it and plug it in. Maybe it's loose. Let's see. There it goes. Phew. X570. Elite. Yeah, so you just Google that, go to Gigabyte's website. It's a Rev 1.0 I checked. That'll be written on your motherboard. You always want to make sure you have the right revision of the motherboard if it made changes. And there we go. So you go to their website. So we can go, let's see if they have any. Usually right on that page, they'll have a download section. They've got all their info on the motherboard. Let's see, do they have it on the top here? Let's see, let's see support. Let's see if drivers are, here we go. So there's the audio driver, BIOS. So they're up to F40D. So I think we were at 37A. So you can see what they're adding, fixed AMD processor, vulnerability. So it's probably a good idea to update the BIOS. Then they also have driver support. So you just download this and install it. So let's do like the audio driver. Click here, save it. And then I can open that up. And I think this is compressed, so I've got to right click, extract all, extract. There we go. So you do this for each component in the motherboard. So you could do so now it's installing the driver, although it does pick up the standard driver, yeah. So as Dave says, yeah, today's kids will never understand the struggle. That's for sure. Yeah, definitely not. So while that's going, yeah, just to show you, there's a LAN driver, and also the chip. I should have probably started with the chipset driver, but I would install these chipset drivers. You got the APU. I would start with this AMD chipset driver. This is version 5.11. That's the latest. They have the old ones on there for legacy. And then you could do the APU driver as well if you needed that. But you can go through each component. But like I said, it's running correctly just right now. So do you really need it? Just me as the nerd and a geek that I would. But yeah, this APU that's your built-in graphics. So technically for this machine you wouldn't need it. For the LAN is working now, but you can download the latest LAN driver is 2002. But I don't think the LAN's working, so I wouldn't do that. The BIOS, I'd update the BIOS, and it's doing sound card right now too. So let's see. Yeah. So let me check that. So I went through it and installed it as we were scrolling there. So and then utility, you've got. Let's see. What do they have here? Utilities. Yep. Got a lot of software. RGB that controls the lights, apps. There's a lot of this stuff is optional stuff that you don't fast boot. The BIOS. This will let you install the BIOS through Windows. Easy Tune. These are all like their programs that you can put in. You don't have to, but it keeps the motherboard up to date. So on off charge if you want to charge a cell phone. It'll keep the charging on. Game Boost. There's all these extra items, but you don't have to have it. But I just want to show. Yeah, that's one of the steps you should do if you're building a PC. Hey, Louis Beck is here. It lives. Yeah, it lives. Yeah, it went boom, but now it's alive again. So yeah, here's the new power supply. It came a lot faster. It said it would take a few weeks, but I guess it. So I just have that hanging out there. Obviously, put that in the case. But I was just showing everyone how to install any drivers that come with your motherboard. So that's and of course then you have to go into like this is an NVIDIA graphics card, so go into the NVIDIA go to NVIDIA.com, download the graphics driver software, and that's about it. Modern computer. Maybe if you got a USB add-on, but a sound card. And of course to control the color of the fans. I got to get that set up so I can change the color of the fans. I think you might even be able to do it in the BIOS on this one, but Cooler Master probably has this, software that you can install, and change that to whatever color you want, or rainbow colors or pretty colors. So, oops, I'm tripping my tripod. Yeah, at least it was a quality power supply that went and didn't take anything else out. Yeah, thank God. That's what I was really worried about, because you guys all heard that boom. And I went back to listen to the video, and I was kind of talking just before, but you clearly hear a pop and a boom. And, the software in here is supposed to take out any big bangs, so maybe it muffled it, but it was pretty darn loud. And I'm like, what was that? So, yeah, so it was an Corsair ARM 750. The RMA ticket is in, so hopefully they approve the RMA. I'm not sure this is about 6 years old, I think. So one batch they said was warranted for 10 years, another batch for 5 years, but hopefully they'll cover it, because this was an expensive power supply when I bought it, and I got some years out of it, but that's a bummer. Something blows like that, and it wasn't getting overloaded either. It wasn't like I was running an RTX card on it. Yep. And don't break it. Yeah, that's for sure. Thanks, Tim. Yep. Definitely try not to break it. Yep. Good to see you. All right. So now I think we can get out of here. I think that's covers. Yeah. So, and of course, installing software, or install Linux, or install whatever you want. But that covers the basics of installing the BIOS, checking your BIOS, installing your drivers, and then if you want to, you can just Google installing Windows USB. I mean, the internet's your friend here now. Yeah, install Windows from a flash drive. There's Microsoft with with the instructions of how to install Windows 11 or 10 with the flash drive. It's pretty simple to follow and format it. So I do need to have some more watch parties. Yeah, that's a fun idea to get back into doing. Yeah, we never finished Night Stalker, and yeah, we got to go finish some of those old shows, and yeah, we've got as you can see, I've got my Liberator up here, as you can see. Oh, let's see if I change that angle. A lot of stuff hanging from the ceiling, but I guess, can you guys see get this flashlight out of the way? There we go. I've got my Liberator down here, so got to finish. Yeah, I guess we should finish. Mike would want us to probably finish watching Blake 7 together, I'm sure. So, especially with that new Blu-ray out. So, but yep. Remember, Mike. All right. Well, let's play the best quote, I think, on TV. ever.
And Callie in your place, would you?
Probably not. What about you?
What about me?
Why don't you go?
You are expendable.
And you're not?
No, I'm not. I am not expendable. I'm not stupid. And I'm not going.
I agree with that. Yep. We're all not expendable. Yep. We're not stupid. We're not going. All right. Well, that's a good moment to get out of here, I think. But let's see. Maddie's like, got a meeting in a few Pacific time. Have a good night, everyone. Yep. Take care. Maddie's daddy. Yep. And I think finishing Voyager would be nice too. Maybe a one-off show. Yeah, that would be. That's not a bad idea to do too. And at least watch him and then talk a little bit about him. Later, Gators, as Mike would say. Yep. All right, everyone. Thanks for popping in here. And so we did have success, thankfully. So success with this this new machine. So knock on wood, it keeps going. So thanks, everyone. We'll catch you tomorrow night on Toxic Tuesday. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you soon for the next one. Thanks, everyone.
Fun storming the castle.
It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.